Welcome back to Deaton Street. I'm Zach. He's Dustin. This week, we saw OpenAI announce the new ChatGPT-4o, and it reminded me a lot of the movie Her, where a lonely writer falls in love with a sentient AI. But before we get into that conversation, please consider liking and subscribing to the channel. It helps us out a ton. We've seen some really cool growth the past couple weeks. We are very appreciative of that. Thank you to everyone who's already done so.
Thank
But
you.
helps us out a ton. Thanks. So, Dustin, you watched Her for the first time this week after I sent it to you and said, you need to see it. It actually came out in
Yeah.
2017. What'd you think of the movie, especially in the context of the way AI is going and this new AI chatbot?
So I enjoyed the movie. It was really good. It looked great, but I'm not going to nerd out over the cinematography of it because we're talking AI. The AI, like the OS1 is what they called it, but it's basically AI.
Right.
And it was like impressively smart and learned and did all the things that, Joaquin or Theodore, Joaquin
Mm-hmm.
Phoenix's character needed it to do, right? It proofread his letters that he was writing. It sent emails for him, but it actually went in and like read a bunch of his stuff and then, took it upon itself
Mm-hmm.
to send out these things to various people. And it was never a bad thing against Theodore.
Yeah.
It was always helpful, so which was cool. Like it was never malicious or anything, but it there was a weird aspect of it too, where
Yeah.
they fell in love with each other,
Yeah.
and that was kind of strange. It was a good love story, but in a weird way,
Yeah.
you know. But that kind of with the way that GPT-4o was interacting on like their press stuff or like the conference that they had, and then as well as like some of the little bit of testing that we did,
Mm-hmm.
um, it kind of had some similarities there.
Yeah.
Uh,
So we should jump
yeah.
in and say the
Yes.
full like upgraded conversational part of the AI for ChatGPT 4o is not out yet, including
Hmm.
like the multimodal stuff where you can use your camera. And so that's not out. If you are testing that out on your OpenAI app, it's the old voice module with the new chat GPT 4o. So it's pulling from 4o, which is why
Hmm.
it's so fast and snappy. But it's still not like the more conversational, like emotionally, I wouldn't say emotionally intelligent, but
Yeah.
emotionally aware kind of voice, I would say. Um,
It felt more natural to have a conversation with it,
yeah,
or
yeah,
it will feel
it
more
will feel.
natural.
I'll say, I mean, so we both used it today.
Hmm.
It's kind of my first time ever using a text to speech kind of situation where I
Hmm.
felt like there wasn't a lot of delay and it was relatively helpful and the conversation wasn't super robotic.
Yeah.
In fact, after watching the movie again, because I also watched it this week in preparation for this
Hmm.
episode, it kind of freaked me out a little bit because the voices sound similar. Uh,
Yeah, they were very, very close.
and the way you interact was better. I'll say better because obviously in the movie it's very seamless and it's like you're talking to another person.
Yeah.
Um, but I mean that's the way that OpenAI wants to go with this too.
Hmm.
So with that, let's go ahead and do a quick overview of like the kind of the new features of ChatGPT 4o. I'm gonna start off. I'll do a couple of these, D-Mallet, if you have them up,
Okay.
and then if you want to jump in. So the O stands for Omni, in that means it can support a variety of inputs and outputs. Interesting that they announced this the day before Windows, or I'm sorry,
Hmm.
Google,
Google, yeah.
because it's the same multimodal
Sorry.
Gemini type stuff. Um, but yeah, so that's what O stands for instead of dot zero or whatever really
Yeah.
weird naming conventions in tech all the time. But they're priding themselves on real time voice conversations and the ability to mimic human speech patterns. It's supposed to be more smooth, more natural. They have some really good examples up on their YouTube channel,
Hmm.
which again kind of freaked me out, but also made me really excited for the future because it seems like this is a much easier way to work alongside the GPT rather than like typing back and forth. Um, then I'm on multimodal content creation as well. It can like create a poem. It can
Mm-hmm.
very easily make pictures within the app. So that was cool. I actually was talking to it and asked it to give us a example of what the thumbnail for this video should be. I will say I didn't use that example because it was very obviously made by AI, but the
Yeah.
way it was structured, it helped out a lot.
Yeah.
So, what are the other kind of areas in which they're supposedly
So
improved?
there's like the image and audio interpretation as well. So I can analyze and understand content of images and audio files. So, for example, like you could show 4o a picture of your vacation and ask it to suggest a like creative writing prompt or something, or you could play like an audio clip and ask GPT to identify the genre or write lyrics in a similar style. I'd imagine it could probably generate some music as well,
I'm
in the
not
same
sure.
style of.
It can sing for sure.
Yeah,
It
it's
passed
probably
the
not far off.
right.
If you know,
It passed the mug test.
yep.
So we have a mug test that I have a green mug. I don't have it with me. I should have it with me. It's bad video making right now. We have a green mug that we ask multimodal AIs what the color of it
Hmm.
is. The Meta Ray-Bans got it wrong. Said it was a black mug.
Yep.
Um, this one actually told me it was green and darker green on the handle. It's not darker green on the handle, but there was some shadow. So
Yeah, I was gonna say it's probably called the shadow.
sure.
The next thing that was kind of stood out for us was like the faster processing. So it boosts the deliveries of like your like the responses of it and
Mm-hmm.
everything. So it's more of a seamless conversation, and it feels like a natural conversation rather than you wait for it to generate, to calculate what it's going to
Yeah.
say, compute it, and then like say something, which is pretty cool. I and again, it's not fully out, but we
Yeah.
did like play with it. I played with it right before we started recording, and I had a little bit of conversation with it, and I could tell it was a little faster, still using the old stuff, but like they kind of beefed it up a little bit. It, it, it still had a little bit of computing time, but
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't bad. Like it felt good.
I used it a lot today. And it was way faster than before. Now,
Hmm.
I've seen some Reddit threads online that essentially what they think is going on with 4o is that it's not going to be as good or as fast at like coding and that
Hmm.
type of like really heavy computing stuff.
Yeah.
But the simple stuff, like, me being, just a dumb YouTuber, I just needed help outlining and help, with thumbnail ideas and that type of stuff. And we don't usually do that, but I figured, hey, we're doing a video over it. Might as well use the
Yeah.
help. It was pretty seamless. It was fast enough to where I didn't notice waiting for a long time, but I
Hmm.
also felt like it was a little bit more conversational. I was able to interrupt it without pressing a button, which
Mm.
was nice.
I didn't even try. I wanted it to. I didn't want to do like what they did at the conference where they interrupted it every time they could.
Right.
I wanted to hear what it had to say, just because it was the first time I
Yeah.
used it. So yeah, it was. I didn't try it.
So a lot better, a lot faster.
Yeah.
It's supposed to eventually be more conversational. We saw some examples of that.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey there. It's going great. How about you?
I'm going to tell you a joke and you tell me if it passes as a dad joke.
And absolutely, I'd love to hear your joke. Lay it on me.
Here's the main question here, Dustin. Where are we seeing similarities with this movie?
I think the first similarity was the initial hello.
Mm-hmm.
Please wait as your operating system is initiated.
Hello, I'm here.
Hi.
Hey, ChatGPT, I'm Mark. How are you?
Oh, Mark. I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. How about you?
It was all too similar. I mean, okay, Scarlett Johansson is the one who plays Samantha, the AI voice.
Mm-hmm.
And the AI voice I believe they used in the conference to the first time it says hello, it's pretty similar
It sounds like
to
ScarJo.
ScarJo.
It sounds like ScarJo. Yep.
that was like the first thing that kind of stood out to both of us, really. Which I was like, is this a joke, or is this planned? Did they do that on purpose? There's other voices to choose from, but they definitely did that on purpose.
It also, in the movie, there was image generation. There was there was also music generation, which I'm not sure where. Like, it's not like GPT can do a whole song yet, but there are other AIs that can do that, and I would imagine down the line GPT will very easily be able to do that.
Well, she does sing too. Like towards the back end of the movie, she sings, and like they wrote a song together or whatever. But I'd imagine we're pretty far off of. I'm writing this piano piece that reminds me of our time at the beach.
Yeah.
What?
Some of the demonstrations showing the GPT around, like using the phone camera and then asking it what it sees, and like there's actually a demonstration on OpenAI's YouTube where they have two AIs talking to each other, one of which has the camera, one of which doesn't, and the one that doesn't have the camera is telling the one with the camera what to do, which was wild.
Yeah.
Which kind of reminded me of in Her, the AIs or the OSs begin talking to each other, and eventually, I won't spoil the movie, but that is a big plot point. It's very similar, but it's also kind of freaky. Like, the parts of the movie he's running around, he's showing Samantha around because she can't see, and I was like, that's kind of what they're doing with the AI right now.
Or even the portion where he's running around with his eyes closed and he's got his camera out and he's walking around. She's like, turn around at 360.
Yeah.
Oh, watch out. And then he's just like walking around with his eyes closed.
It's interesting watching this movie before the AI revolution that we're in right now. Like, this uptick of like it being a buzzword, and there's so much time and energy being spent to develop it. I know that there were things that were coming out in 2017 for sure, but this movie seems so far ahead of its time. It's even
absolutely
funny. The beginning of it, the first thing she does is go through his emails. And I was like, that's so perfect for where we're at right now. It's like, that's what we want AIs to do. Some other areas that were, some of the other areas that they were similar. I mean, the conversational tone of it at the beginning, they're similar. You know, it's very formal. Getting past the, how do I talk to this thing that isn't a person, that doesn't need the formality or even the kindness that we give to other people. How do people treat that? And in the OpenAI examples, they say thank you at the end, which I do too. But it always makes me wonder why we say thank you to AIs.
It's weird. I've done that with my like Nest stuff, but it's just because I'm like, it says you're welcome. That's funny. You know, it's never like I'm saying thank you as like a genuine thank you. It's like, I want a response, but it feels a little bit more real with the, OpenAI stuff.
I fell into it a little bit where at the end of the conversation, it was like, hey, if you need more help making this video, let me know. And I was like, I might. That was my response. I was like, I might. And then I was like, what is going on here? What am I doing?
Yeah.
I should have, so just that part of it, I find really interesting. And there's some parallels there. I do think Sam Altman is talking about allowing not safe for work, explicit type content on, I think maybe personal, GPTs.
Yeah.
That would bridge the gap for a lot of people, because I do believe that it's conversational enough for if someone is alone and lonely and needed someone to talk to. I do think that this could serve that purpose already. And the movie gets explicit as well. But I mean, I think that's just in the world. That's the logical way that some people are going to go. And so I see that as a possibility because of if Sam Altman allows it. The CEO of OpenAI. So those are the things that I found that were similar, that like gave me kind of like the creepypasta. This is the direction we're going. There's obviously a ton that's different. Yeah. Do you have any off the top of your head? Just,
I mean, the fact that it was able to learn in an emotional way and feel feelings, and one of the things was like, and this isn't really spoiling anything if you haven't watched the movie yet, but it was like she started to feel comfortable in her skin or something. It was a little weird. I'm very loosely very kind of misquoting it, but like that's the vibe, you know.
She started to understand her existence a little bit.
Yeah.
We haven't seen that with AI, and I think that
No.
that's like the part of like bridging the gap between like AI and AGI,
Yeah.
artificial general intelligence, which has reasoning like humans, that type of deal. What about long-term memory?
Yeah. I think that could be pretty beneficial for us, but also it's a little weird if you're taking in context of the movie, because it can remember something you said, and then if it were to get emotional like the movie does, then it could be like, well, something you said the other day kind of hurt my feelings, and it made me sit down and think a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, it's like what?
If my Amazon device annoys me quite a bit, and so some of the things that I have said to it probably would hurt its feelings if it had long-term memory, I think. So,
Exactly. Yeah.
that also, it kind of leads us into this kind of ethical consideration of it all, right? Because if we want AI to be the most efficient, especially as like assistants to us, we kind of want it to have that long-term memory. We want it to be able to understand our lives, our preferences, but ethically, especially if it is kind of chatting with us this way, is there going to be that crossing of the line to where some people are going to become close to their AIs? And I just mean close, like just like friends, and it can be like a companion, but like, is that healthy for a society?
I don't know. I don't think so. That's just me. Because human interaction is extremely important in anybody's lives. The moment you take that away, then nobody knows how to communicate on a personal level anymore.
Yeah.
Or it could get that far, you know. Not saying it will. I don't know. You never know. But in the direction that everything's kind of going,
I mean,
it's a
you
little
know,
iffy.
and we don't like to say, you know, the pandemic stuff, right? But coming out of the pandemic, that was a concern. Is like there's less human interaction, and I know that I felt it. I certainly know people around me felt it. But I think that AI could pull people into that in a way where they think they want that, because you know, sometimes it would be nicer just to talk to someone that agrees with you all the time, right?
Yeah. What was it? And this is kind of referenced in the movie again, but one of the lines was one of the girls is talking to, you know, Joaquin Phoenix's character, and she's like, "You don't know how to have like an emotional reaction or respond to a negative thing. You'd rather be in love with this AI that doesn't have those repercussions."
Yeah.
You know, which I think a lot of people would kind of fall into and find that really appealing.
Yeah. Yeah. It's hard to say anything else, because it's I also see the benefits of that too, where people that are lonely might need someone or something to talk to, and there might be some benefits there. I don't know. I don't want to judge too hard.
It could honestly in that case, I think best case scenario, it could save somebody's life.
Sure. Yeah. I mean,
you know,
that is certainly a possibility. So it's a rough area we're going into for sure.
It's a toss up, man.
We're not there yet, but I can definitely see these type of conversations being very relevant down the road. I'm trying to think if I have anything. I think that's all I really have about this. I do think, you know, the video is this piece of technology moving us closer to her. I think it's a resounding yes. Yeah, absolutely yes. It's moving us in that direction. We're taking steps. It'll be interesting how it all plays out.
Yeah. Well, I mean, let us know what you think about the ChatGPT-4o. Let us know, you know, is it going towards the movie? Is it not going to? Are you looking forward to it going towards the movie? Just post it down in the comments. I love seeing the discussions. I love seeing the different comments, negative or good. Doesn't matter, because everybody's here to share what they think. You know.
Yeah, our comment sections so far have been pretty civil, so it's been nice to kind of read and listen to the different opinions. If you haven't seen Her, please do yourself a favor, watch Her. It is a little bit explicit. It does kind of get raunchy in areas, but I think overall, just the story is very good.
Yeah.
Like Dustin was said, we're kind of nerds for good cinematic movies, and there's some really cool.
I could
cinematic shots
dive straight into that, but this is AI. So.
Different channel. Yeah. We'll do a third channel eventually. So
yeah.
All right, man. Well, we will see y'all next week.
Mm-hmm.
Peace.
See ya.
I'm walking the streets of nowhere. I'm playing